Hi, folks, with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about an epidemic that suddenly appeared in Australia, which is there's an alleged epidemic of violence and oppression against low-paid retail shop workers all over Australia. It's happened all at once, all over Australia, just like someone flicked a switch and that's it. And suddenly shop workers everywhere are victims of violence. Now, as usual with these things, the hot air and the faux outrage and the we're fighting back against this evil, then you know pretty much it's a choreographed bit of nonsense that's being ginned up to be a real big thing. So politicians and union heavies can pretend to be, we're not going to let that happen to, those girls in the shops, they're hardworking girls being oppressed by you. No. You've just invented the whole fucking problem. The claim is that and we're not sure over the time frame here, but over the last few years, there have been something in the order of 150 assaults and acts of violence against retail shop workers, or so it's alleged. Now, once you start to pick through the numbers, that it's not a assault of a shop worker at all. It's someone who's come in and started to trash the store. They've pushed over displays, or they've smashed products, or kicked over the shelves, or something like that, and they've been caught on camera. The police have been caught, and they've been charged with damaging property and so on. But they tried to gin this up as being, well, these are just helpless little girls in these shops, young women being assaulted by big British eagles. So they've tried to sort of gin up to try and look somewhat like that, but the reality is quite different. Now, they're claiming that there were 150, give or take, 150 such assaults, but over an uncertain time frame, or acts of violence, and they're claiming that somewhere in the order of 25 people were actually imprisoned over it. Now, I didn't get down into is that weekend detention? Is it people that are violent people that have been guilty of, they've got a long rap sheet, or what's going on here? So now there are signs up in pretty much every store now, and also announcements over the intercom. Violence against our staff members will not be tolerated, and the police will be called, and so on and so forth. So it's made out to be like it's a really big issue, but is it? I've never seen any acts of violence or heard about them. Now, I've seen some, observed some sort of unpleasant scenes where snot-nosed shop employee is just being obstinate and difficult without cause. I've seen that. I've experienced it, for goodness sakes. Also, the sort of people that they're hiring in these shops now, and have been for a while. For example, there are women who have been in supposedly women's refuges. They're escaping alleged violent partners. Now, it seems that almost every one of these women also has bipolar disorder, but instead of addressing it as women with bipolar disorder, they address it as women who are victims of violent, oppressive men, when in reality it's the bipolar disorder that's the issue here. Not that a woman should get beaten up because she's got bipolar disorder, but the sort of things she will do and the sort of things that she does to him will, in all probability, result in him lashing out. To say that it's a gender violence issue, of course, is nonsense. They're giving these women jobs. Now, I saw one a little while ago. I was in a shop, and very disorganized shop, and they had an item that was on promotion, and I got sent an email. So I thought, oh yeah, I'll get that. I knew I was going to be driving past that shop, so I thought I'll nip it and grab it. So I go in, and they've got none on the shelf. So I go and ask somebody, and they say, well, they don't know. I'm only a trainer. You have to ask her. So I'm going to ask her. Oh, I'm too busy now. You have to ask her. Or then she says, no, you have to ask him. Well, I can't ask him. It's his day off. I've already asked that. Oh, well, then you have to go over to the information desk so, I mean, talk about giving the runaround on something simple. I mean, the product's on fucking promotion, for Christ's sake, and you haven't got any, or if you have, you don't know where it is. No one knows anything, and no one gives a shit. Now, that's going to try the patience of anybody, mine included, by the way. So anyway, I go to the information desk, and there's a guy in front of me who's also obviously been given the same runaround. In fact, he's asking about the same product, interestingly. And so he goes to the information desk and there's a woman there now the information desk is quite big. It's probably 3 to 4 meters across, maybe even longer, 5 meters across. She's at the far end, and it's like got a bridge around, like a counter around it, and the guy's just in front of me, and he says, excuse me, and the woman there, excuse me, I'm looking for a product, and no one there. Now the woman, the guy was just an ordinary guy. I mean, he didn't say anything. Again, he's meters away from her, hand on the other side of the counter. And as soon as she turns around, she instantly throws her arms up as if she's protecting herself from a beating. And she does so with a look of terror all over her face. Now, but just sort of, picture this scenario. There's a guy 5 meters away from asking about whether a product is in stock or not. Quite ordinarily, it's not like he's holding a fucking AK-47 or something. He's just still asking about it. She turns around and goes through this very, very theatrical thing of someone's going to hit me and I have to protect myself, and she's in terror, and no, I'm a victim of violence. And so clearly she's got mental health issues. I mean, that's why they would put someone like that in that sort of customer facing job is quite beyond me. But the organization is making a big deal out of this, that they're giving these oppressed women jobs, when in fact they're just giving women with mental health problems and bipolar disorder employment in positions they shouldn't have. Now, if they want to put her out in the back room doing whatever you do in the back room in those sort of places, that's fine. I mean, who cares? But instead, they've got her in a customer-facing front office or front sort of job where she's dealing with people all the time. We're going to have to, as part of a job requirement. And here's a guy meters away from her asking about a product is in stock, and she's going through this ridiculous theater of holding her hands up. And anyway, I'm standing behind that guy watching it. So now, there's a lot of shops that have got some serious difficult policy. I bought some hardware recently. It wasn't much. It was only $10, not even $10 for this item. But I hadn't expected there to be so many sizes and great. It turns out I'd got the wrong item, and it was, instead of a certain sort of size, instead of being the 10 millimeter one, I needed the 12 millimeter one, or instead of the 1/2 inch, I needed the 3/4 inch. It's that type of thing. So I went into. So, well, I don't need this one. I'll exchange it for. So there's an obstinate employee. It's our policy that you have to give your home address and phone number and this and that, and you have to sign a declaration. And what are you talking about? I just want to exchange it. I don't want money back. I don't want anything. I just got the wrong size. I haven't opened the packet. Everything's there. Here's the receipt. All the documents there. I paid cash. There's nothing to do with credit. So, but she was determined to. She saw it again. Someone with mental health problems. She saw it. She was standing her ground. She was fighting. She's been told all her life, straight white male oppressor, fascist Nazi, and she's stunning and brave, and she's standing up to this. And she's the classic 100-pound Hollywood chick that beats up the 250-pound, roided out muscle guy. But fortunately, the manager or the supervisor was standing nearby and just sort of pushed her aside, said, "No, it's fine. This you just do an exchange and that's it." And so I asked about the thing. Said, no, it's only if it's over $100 and you've bought on a credit card. and if it's a different product, if there's a difference in price. In this thing, it was the same price. It was paid cash. It was well under the $100 limit, so there's no need for that. And she just said, "Oh, she's in training. She's just misunderstood the company's policies." Okay, well, fine. But those sort of people are everywhere in retail, and I'm finding that it's the idea that it's a very convenient sort of shopping situation now is maybe something of a misnomer. I'm constantly finding going into shops that something's not there, no one knows anything about it. You get passed around to several people, none of whom know anything. You can't explain a product now. You must go in with photographs now. So if I want something, or even if I'm going in to buy a product that I'm somewhat confident that it's going to be in stock, or that I will get off the internet, I will get a photograph of it, because invariably someone's going to go, because a lot of these people are illiterate and they can barely function on a description. They also can only consider one small item at a time. I'll come back to that in a second. So you have the only thing you can do is show them a photograph. So I go in prepared now all the time. It's a photograph, or I come up with something off their own website, and show them. And even going to takeout food stores now, I find that it's an argument almost every time. I get the promotional email from the head office, so I go into the takeout, burger or I don't know, whatever store, and goes, "Oh, I'd like the so and so, please." What? What's that? I don't know that. Where'd you hear that from? Well, that's from your own website. Here's the email, and there's the photograph. Oh, okay. "Oh, Billy Bob, do you know anything about it, so and so?" "Oh, yeah, I saw a memo about that, but I didn't have time to put it up." "Okay, yeah. What do you want, mate?" Yeah. The attitude's diabolical in some of these places, and they seem determined to fight every step of the way rather than just give the service. So I can understand how a violent situation or a confrontation could occur. And some of these people, they get off on this. They think, well, if I can have a big sort of brawl with the customer, then I'll be front page news all over the country. I'll be famous. I'll be a hero. How I stood up to the evil customer. So these people are into that. There's one a little while ago where the company had this, the shopping basket thing, that you couldn't take the shopping basket out the front door of the shop, and it wasn't a busy shop. There was one young woman on a checkout, and this guy went out with the basket, and his car was only parked outside, and I wasn't far behind him, and so I watched the whole thing unfold. Now, as the guy's just going out the door, the girl on the checkout, who seemed more concerned with her self-importance than just doing her job, calls out, "You can't take those baskets outside." and so he goes out, and he's just outside there putting it in the back of his car, the trunk of his car, and she actually leaves the checkout. I mean, can you get this? It's the only operating checkout. She leaves the checkout, runs out after the guy, and to repeat, "You can't take that outside." She's like the big enforcer and so on. But the look on her face as I approached and came from the other side, I could see the look on her face was, "I hope he assaults me. I hope he really hits me, because then I'll be big and famous. I'll be all over the front page news, and everyone will congratulate me how stunning and brave I am." So a lot of this shop worker violence is used. Not that anyone should be assaulted, by the way. It is that people like her and the woman in the bipolar disorder, all that sort of thing. It's those sort of situations that escalate. And again, not that people with mental health problems don't go shopping. They do. There was a case where I saw, again, some time ago, there's a woman with I would think severe bipolar disorder. She's imagining that there's people around her that are trying to do things to her, so she's screaming obscenities at these non-existent phantom people. And when the staff try and intervene to to say, all right, then, let's get your groceries and let's get you out of here. She starts screaming at them, and so she was escorted out. So there are things like that. But to say that there's violence and it's an epidemic and this sort of thing is nonsense. There are some people, very low IQ, simple-minded, illiterate people, are being put in positions of customer service type positions that they just can't deal with and don't know how to deal with, and that they want an escalation because it makes them feel important and powerful, and a lot of it comes from that. But the people getting arrested and imprisoned, as far as are for substantial property damage, not for. So they've lumped the property damage in with the violence against shop assistants, so the shop workers. And if you sort of pick apart the numbers, the actual physical violence against shop workers is quite small. So over the last couple of years, if there's maybe 10 or so shop workers that have been actually physically assaulted, and you would say reasonably unprovoked. But when you look at the sort of people being employed in shop work, the relationship between, or the purchasing power of the paycheck for shop work. When I was a kid, I got a job in the local, one of the local stores. I was like still at high school and just doing this on weekends, or a summer job, so on. So I got a job, and the people there, there was a guy working out in the storeroom, and his wife was on the checkout, and they could afford to buy a house and have children and this sort of thing. That was the purchasing power of the paycheck in those days. There were guys who were working as just as retail sort of shop employees, and they could support a dependent wife and child and this sort of thing. I mean, today that would be considered impossible. So the purchasing power of the paycheck, say 50 years ago, 40, 50 years ago, that sort of thing, in retail shop work meant you were more or less an average wage earner, whereas now you're sort of really at the bottom of the pile. And I was talking to a guy who's one of the shops that I go into fair. He's like the manager of some department or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but he's got some sort of supervisory authority and people that report to him. And he's paid around 70%. Wait for this, 70% of the average wage. That's how low this guy's wage is, and they're getting 60-hour a week out of him. And again, he's got a supervisory role. I mean, this is insane. And he's 30% shy of the average wage. So these are the changes that are going in. The sort of people they're hiring and giving jobs who want to work there reflect that. For example, people in a lot of these retail shops now, they can have had 12 months or more in prison, and still they'll be eligible for employment. Now, a lot of these people have very minimal social skills, and they seek out confrontation, and they like to be difficult, and they get off on it, and yet they're able to get jobs and keep jobs in those sort of environments. So that's a recipe for discord that wouldn't have existed years ago. You've been with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.